Charge awaiting matrix field. Positive. Coordinates reached, Commander.
Activate the Sade field.
Activation of multidimensional engines.
Launch communications probe.
Power levels to maximum.
Activate all dimensional levels of communication.
Communication established.
The voice you hear is known as Bob. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination. This is the last slave planet in the galaxy. Under all agreement, under all rights, under galactic law, we now proclaim this planet free. The descension of the true human consciousness has begun.
Energizing Shambhala diamonds.
The men, women, and children of this planet are now set free.
Grid fields activated.
You have already reached
Activate Shambhala diamond.
critical mass.
Integration onto microcosm. Expanding linear space.
Prepare for landing. Prepare for landing. Prepare for landing.
Free space activation. Landing. Caution. All crew members to station. This is the Starship Bob. We are landing.
Good evening, welcome, Dark City Show, Dark City Radio. As always, phone us, ring us up. We want to know what you're up to, what you think, and what you're doing or what you're not doing, and all that stuff. Just basically what's ever on your head or in your heart. Because your heart's a pretty place to come from. If you do want to do that, and the numbers are 0044 161 298 0298. Or you can use a plus instead of the 2 zeros. Those are for people outside the UK. If you're inside the UK, add 00161 298 0298. Or you can Skype us on Skype. You can Skype us. Yeah, that's right. Skype us on Skype at Bob's Backyard, and we'll bring you in straight away. There's not really a fixed topic to a Dark City Show. Moments before we actually started, just at the end of Dave's show, and the cracking show for Dave, and thanks for all the people tuning in. For that, the numbers are appreciated. And what was I going to say? I forgot. Oh yeah, just before we started, I said, right, well, what's the topic? And literally, a couple of minutes ago, what is the topic? So the topics we've actually got thrown into the hat at the beginning are Bilderbergs, cheese, and free festivals. Bilderberg cheese and free festivals. So these are the things that have actually been thrown into our discussional hat this evening. Don't know why we've got a hat, really. So yeah, once again, if you want to throw anything in, please do, from IRC. Tetley or Yorkshire, which is the best tea? They don't actually make tea in Yorkshire, and the Tetley people are actually fictitious cartoon characters. They don't really exist. So I would say the best tea is actually Indian tea. Yes, I'd say I think Indian tea is probably the best tea. But hey, and that would be Tetley tea, but purchased in India. Not the same Tetley tea that you purchase in England. So there you go. If I had a choice, I wouldn't go for the Yorkshire. May I just add bastards on the end of that statement. Right, Prajna, I hope you've sorted your audio out, man, because it sounds like your caravan's filled up with cooking oil. How are you doing, the famous orange auto hippie?
Oh no, is it any better?
Well, it sounds like you're working in the Chinese chip shop now, but that's all right. No worries, man. We'll work it out. We'll cope.
Right. Well, the first comment is on tea, and that is anything but Twinings. Twinings are a bunch of bastards, and they own half of Andover, and they're part of the Illuminati and New World Order and everything else like that, and so don't have them on principle, really. Personally, out of Tetley, I go for Yorkshire. So that's the serious. The other two things we're going to talk about was Bilderberg and free festivals.
And cheese.
Because, well, no, someone else was going to talk about cheese. I didn't bring cheese up.
It might have been Lee. I think Lee might be talking about cheese shortly.
Yeah, he was hungry, so he's just shot off to get something to eat, maybe some cheese, and then he should be back again. But there's this Bilderberg meeting coming up at the Grove Hotel in Watford.
Yeah.
In Watford. And very strangely, there's a kind of official fringe festival. So whether that's being organised by Bilderberg or whether it's being paid for by to stick one into the Bilderbergers, I really don't know. And it's likely to be a big provocateur. You know, it's got lots of BMPs going to be turning up there.
It's got Occupy written all over it, actually, and many of the people that were prominent in Occupy that have been exposed as operatives of Institute and Common Purpose are actually involved in organising this fringe festival. I read today as well that licences have been applied for this fringe festival as well. Granted,
is this? Excuse me. Is this the one that Yeehaw Jones and Lizard Boy? Yeah. That's
David Icke and Alex Jones are going to be there. So it's a proper festy, you know.
I can't go me on the principles that they both owe me money.
Well, we might be able to change your mind on that. Prasha will go on and explain about free party festivals and freedom.
It all stinks absolutely to high heaven, and I was thinking, well, we'll give that a miss. You get up to all kinds of mischief there for sure. But you know, there used to be a great tradition of free parties and free festivals and all this kind of thing until Maggie Thatcher sent the troop, kicked the shit out of everybody, and then it all kind of ground to a halt. And it's about time we started it all up again. And there's been a lot of talk about restarting free festivals and so on. Well, if there's a venue like this one at Watford, why don't we go up there and take it over? And it starts as an anti-Bilderberg festival, or celebrating the wonderfulness of Bilderberg festival, and then turns into a free party that continues and expands and so on.
Well, I'm not exactly sure about taking over the Fringe Festival. If you want to have a Fringe Festival for a couple of days, then go right ahead. That's entirely up to them. But our option at the moment is to go down there to actually pitch camp ready for the Bilderberg, to invite every festival, putty on the experience in the travel sort of culture, festival culture, free energy, you know, permaculture, aquaponics, you name it. Invite everyone that we know down, musicians, poets, artists, you know, visionaries, and let's just make something happen. Let's make it a celebration of freedom right there in the heart of the country. I happen to know the landscape down there is apparently Basin Central. It's a very interesting place. So, yeah, let's just get down there and do it. We're up for it. We're going down anyway. We're going to pitch our little caravan and we'll get our awning up and we'll make ourselves right at home. And hopefully we'll be joined by hundreds and then thousands and then hundreds of thousands. And it will grow as we experience freedom and living by our own nature, beyond corruption.
It's quite a good way to challenge, I think.
Yeah. So that's the idea, and that's what we're doing, and hopefully it's what a lot of you will be doing as well.
So what's the dates? What's the dates of this?
Well,
beginning next month, isn't it?
Yeah, the date of the conference itself, I think it begins on the 6th of June, the conference itself. So we will get down in advance of that. Probably, where are we now? Towards the end of May now, aren't we? Anyway, we'll probably be going down there probably this time next week, actually, because we've got all our ducks things done that we need to do up here, apart from a couple of small matters that we need to take care of, and then we're free and that's it. We're going down there, so end of next week. Let's make it a date.
Camp Bilderberg.
Yeah, why not? Indeed, best of luck. Brilliant. Obviously, I can't get down there and do that. There's a kind of, I mean, well, I could, but I mean, I take it you're going to ring in and give us reports and stuff.
Okay.
And that's like the prison. It's the deep dungeon of Darkcity where they keep me locked away. Me and the server. But yeah, that'd be really cool. Really cool. Like I say, that's the open invitation, isn't it? If people are out there and doing it.
Yeah. And despite the fact that Prasnus just called it the Anti-Bilderberg Festival, wherever it was, he just called it, calling it the Forever Free Festival, because it can go on forever and we can be free forever. It's up to us. It's up to us to claim that for ourselves and live for ourselves, live by our own authority, accept nobody's jurisdiction but our own, be our own government, self-policing, self-governance, governing.
Well, yeah, I totally subscribe to your opinions there. You know, your point of view. I don't think we should wait for authority to do things. And you know what? I read your piece. It really made me chuckle at the bottom of it. The orange auto piece. I really. I mean, yeah. It just buzzed me up when I saw it. You know, the orange auto. Say again.
That was homage to you. We love being the orange auto hippies, and you gave us that title, and we carry it with pride.
Well, it wasn't really a title. I mean, it was an explanation. It's more of a statement. So, yeah, people don't know. Prasna tends to wear orange most of the time. So, for me, when I say that, it's just how I remember him, you know. It's nice. For me, it is anyway. But, you know, it flicked me back to well, one of the main reasons we started all this, and how I got plunged into these so-called movements, and that don't seem to really go anywhere. Was the Ashton allotment action, and the amount of, I don't know what the right name is for it, provocateurs, you know, psyopses, people trying to pull us away from and doing other stuff, and I suppose in one sense Darkcity Radio has become that. But I had a chat today with quite, the filmmaker, Kirk Rutter. Is it Kirk Rutter? The filmmaker, MGMO and stuff. I was chatting with him about a few things, you know, regarding Rake and the Ashton sites and, you know, and the things we've been doing. And we give people land here. We don't give it them. I mean, the words are hard to put. But we free land. You know, it's free anyway. I suppose we made a statement of fact. Me and Nigel up there one day made a statement of fact. This land is now free, and we just affirmed the truth. That is the truth for me. That's the truth. The land is free. We didn't actually do anything. You know, there was no dance or anything else. Well, we did plant a few potatoes as like a symbolic act and a couple of artichokes. You know, and that was it. Later, other people came, and you know, the movement started, and as they call it, a movement to actually cultivate that land, and people don't come. They didn't come. It's common land. It's your land. People ask us, can they do this? And will this be all right? And well, I can't tell you. Nobody can tell you. We can't tell you. And the argument is, yeah, but you started it. No, we didn't start it. We didn't. The land's always been free. We just made it real. That's all. We just made it real. And the people still don't come. They still don't come. We've expanded it now, and with no virtual effort at all, the 250 square metres, 250,000 square metres, excuse me, 250,000 square metres of land that we took is now 750,000. 750,000. We've expanded the site now over threefold. It might be even more than that. I don't want to exaggerate these figures. But if you have a look on the site at Bob's Backyard / AAA Alpha, you'll be able to see there that on that site where we've drawn the allotment site, we've now taken a big triangular piece of land to the south of it. You know, it runs along the edge of the motorway, all of it. Well, people still don't come. Well, don't get me wrong, we've had a few people who've come. Don't get me wrong, you know what I mean, but we did it. You know, we'd done it. We did what Occupy were doing in a sense, you know, and I don't mean like what it turned into. You know, since then we've had people who were there get into bickering arguments about one another, about past resentments and, you know, past hatred, and they want retribution for, and it's, you know.
And yet this is the energy that we need to move away from.
Yeah.
To live with each other and develop, I can't
help you, me, Callie. Like I say, I've been a bit of a fug me in my time. I haven't got it all right. You know, I've made loads of mistakes, but we did a beautiful thing there. We did a beautiful thing, and these people want to argue over it and fuck shit at one another over it. It's free land. It knows more about it than we do. The land's always been free. And we're just, I don't know, I'm lost here, me. Lost with it. I don't get it. People cry out for it. They cry out for it. And then when you do it...
At the same time, to be afraid of it.
It would appear so. So anyway, June, the 21st to the 23rd, I do believe that's the solstice weekend.
Yes.
Little angel, really. She put loads and loads of time and effort in. And basically because of a partner, people had a fucking problem. And I don't get that. It's got nothing to do with a partner, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, me falling out with my mate at work because he had, you know, he had chicken to eat with his wife at night. It's got nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with you. It's people's personal shit. It's their personal shit. Let them sort their shit out. We'll sort our shit out. And guess what? There'll be no shit. So yeah. And they did. They just, it was like they were waiting for an excuse, Callie. You know, they were waiting for any old excuse not to do what they promised to do. You know, that all along they were provocateurs and turncoats. And I don't want to see this, mate. I want to see the good in people. But, you know, I think it might be time to take my rose-coloured tinted spectacles off. You know, because some of these people are just sick fuckers. I don't know what else to call them. You get people who are doing the best they can do, you know, and they just, I don't know what it is. They want to call people names and make allegations and stuff. And it's like, grow up. Come on, just grow up. So yeah, in that spirit of forget the bullshit. Who gives a flying fuck what happened? You know, we're on every moment's the dawn of a brand new future, if you like. I'm not even big on the future anymore. You know, in that, there's 750,000 square metres.
That's just sitting there.
Yeah. You want to have a what? What do you want? What do you want?
Freedom
Drive the motorway. Bit dodgy for the water supply, mind you. But you might have to lift one of the grid and get some water from the actual main. But there is a water main at one end, so you can have water at the other end. And we have to sort out something for toilets, of course. But hey, I wouldn't want to be actually kind of putting the notion forward that there's a summer festival on there.
Well, it might not be a bad idea if there was a summer festival on there around the time of the summer solstice.
Well, it is actually. You know that somebody's advertising it. It's obviously advertised. Yeah. Ashton Allotment Actions proudly present Ashton Summer Earth Fest. Yep, that's what it says. The June 21st to the 23rd. Now, I've got it on reasonable authority, and I don't know, this is only the rumours that are kicking around that there's going to be mud wrestling. I don't know how true it is.
I think it may have been suggested a detractor.
There isn't going to be mud wrestling. Well,
I think it was initially suggested detractor, but I think Stacey actually quite likes the idea, and why not? It might be fun.
Well, Stacey wanted to do it topless, and we were kind of like, well, come on, go on, Stacey, you know what I mean? That's not right, you know what I mean? It's unfair advantage, isn't it? You know, it really isn't. You can't start doing that. So yeah, I mean, apparently it could either be full of dirt or we could be full of shit. I'm not quite so sure. There's been a few comments regarding it, and they're quite funny actually. So whoever did the summer Earth Festival 2012 video, yeah, nice one. It is quite funny actually, very funny indeed. But and I suppose it is an official video because it's unofficial, and the whole idea with it is we told people just to do it and get on with it. So congratulations to people for doing that and not asking us if it was okay. It was cool. So I'd like to support that if we can, in some way. I don't know what we can do really, you know. I don't know. But yeah, there it is. It's 750,000 square metres of land. There is access to it by foot. You can get on there by road. It is a little bit difficult because the authorities kept building things there and stuff. So yeah, there's access through one gate with a single padlock. And that's it. There's room for camping. There's a hard standing car park there, which would probably take 100 cars maybe, just on the car park. Of course there is access roads all over the site. I would ask though if there is going to be a lot of people go there, that people go up there beforehand and walk the land, just walk around on it and take your time, because they may be nesting birds. Although we haven't, part of it has been cultivated, but the majority of it is turning back to the wild, and just to respect that. You know, just to respect it. Now, Nigel Rawlins also does the Pax Monday show. He said he's going to go up there on Saturday and start to do a little bit of stuff with cultivation and just tidying the site up a little bit. And bear in mind, this is 250,000 square metres of allotment site with an adjacent 500,000 square metres. This is right at the side of Manchester's biggest com ever, I suspect, where hundreds of thousands, if not hundreds of millions of tons of illegal waste was tipped and then covered over with about 8 inches of topsoil. This is why we went to the major media in the first place, because our local MP had basically told us he was under threats of death. He couldn't speak out. And so far, throughout our endeavours, and they have been quite long and hard, to actually show the local authority for you know, and to kind of get some action against them, and we've got nowhere. We've actually got nowhere. 2 years now, since we went on the land, and they're not going to put. They don't want any attention. Right at the side of it is the biggest illegal landfill tip. I don't know if it's in the way of. Don't want to exaggerate, but you need to have a look. Lord Sheldon Way. Have a look at Lord Sheldon Way. You can see this off a satellite. It's not something that's difficult to say. And nobody will cover it. Nobody will cover the story. They're all terrified of it.
Maybe the thing to do is give them a big story to cover and have a big festival and get everyone down there to build compost toilets and all the things that need to be done with respect to nature and we already live in there, as you said. And yeah, give them a story that they can't read.
Yeah, well, just to put people's minds at rest, we have actually walked the site that I'm suggesting. We have dug on that site. We've looked around it. We have found some very small amounts of low-level waste, tiny amounts of bluebilly, small amounts of asbestos. However, on the other site, which we're not suggesting people go on, we've found large quantities. Before they actually covered it all over with topsoil, it was just lying on the surface. You could see sheets of asbestos, all sorts of stuff. All sorts. We don't know, but like I say, we don't know what's there. I mean, we know what needs to be done. I think Dave's still with us. I don't know if he's still listening, but I have been told that it's £25,000 per tonne that are charged against authorities for illegally tipping. Well, that would probably just bankrupt the country. That was the case. So I am literally talking hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of tons of waste here. Everything from the contents of Grandad's shed to, like I say, unknown. That's the name is unknown. So yeah, they were charging £45 a tonne to tip on there. So that gives you an idea. There was never any tipping charges, licenses ever granted at all, none whatsoever. Not even for they said it was a backfill. It's where all the waste fillage for the motorway completion of the M60 ring road at junction 23. That's what they said it was for. But it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous what has been put on there. It's blatantly just commercial waste. That's what it is. It's not.
The mind boggles that the cost of removal of that soil would just be astronomical.
And the fines that are being imposed, obviously. I mean, there's quite a funny point that's been put in chat about the country's been bankrupt since 1930, Paul. Yeah, I do get that point. I stand that correction. But, at the end of the day, the people will pay. That's my point. I mean, the government or authorities, so-called, may make the decisions, they have the actions, and we pay. We pay. So it's a tightrope. That's one of the reasons why I haven't gone shooting up that. You can't pay. We've got to come up with an alternative, I think. We've got to come up with a solution for them. I mean, according to the authorities, it's going to be what do you call it? A golf course, because, I mean, if you come to East of Manchester, you can actually see that. I'm just going to take the, go on then, why not? You see people on weekends, and obviously they're queuing up. They're actually queuing up for people to play golf, I mean, you can't get on a golf course in East Manchester. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you say at weekends, it's causing traffic. Of course, this is preposterous, but there is no shortage of golf courses in East Manchester, There's a shortage of jobs and houses and stuff, but, there's no shortage of golf courses. We could do with some wide open spaces again. They've all gone. Perhaps there's some public amenities, they've all gone. So, yeah. But nobody will touch it. Nobody will touch it. They're all terrified of it. You see, when you dig into it, it's actually owned by the Grey family. The Queen for a day. The Queen for a day. It's them lot. And it really is still in the clutches of the dead hand of the rich elite. Anyway, we've been joined by a girl from New York. Hello there.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm
You guys doing well?
I'm okay.
In the lovely Britain of the Great. How goes it?
Yeah. It's a bit cheeky, that, isn't it? Calling your country great.
Well, God save your queen. She's gonna fucking need it. Pardon my French.
I'd just like you to point out she's not our queen.
Well, God save Satan's queen.
Yeah. I think
something like that.
We've got a King Harris now, apparently. Have you heard about King Harris? King John Harris?
No, John, no. I've never heard of him. Fill me in.
He's the king now. Yeah, he's the king, apparently. Does any of the crew know anything about this? King John Harris?
John Harris? No. Is John Harris? I thought it was a character from Star Trek. I just saw that yesterday. He played Khan. A young Khan.
I'm not sure. Go on, Pride. What was that?
We hate to admit that we do have something of an inside track from King John Harris, the once and future king.
Yeah, Lord Zion. Yeah, we know him. I used to moderate John Harris's forum, tpu.org, long time ago, and was eventually banned from the forum for talking about a known con man who's a good friend of John's. And yeah, he's the once and future king of England and Great Britain and all stuff like that. It's very strange.
He's got some big shady anti-Illuminati organisation of medieval knights, or in fact, no, I think they're Japanese knights. Or
no, the Scottish
Dragon Society.
I was actually really into when John Harris started doing his stuff, me, and I was kind of like I was a bit suckered in with it, I suppose. But I mean, I don't know. I think he did a lot of good stuff in the early days.
John Harris did a fantastic job at getting a particular message out there. He made he went around the country doing the It's and talks, and the videos of that are still available on YouTube and elsewhere, and well worth a watch. There's some wrong information in there. I wouldn't really call it disinformation. I'd just say mistakes, really. But it's a bloody good place to start if you want to know about the systems which tend to trap and enslave us without our knowledge or consent. Then it's a great place to start. And he's done a fantastic job of waking up thousands and thousands of people to what is really going on. But I do have concerns that the guy himself is slightly deluded, and he's come under the influence of this very secretive in Scotland that are feeding him an awful lot of lines about why it is that he needs to be our benevolent dictator or king.
He did a good job. We've got a benevolent dictator. That's Zeke Jackson, isn't it? Zeke Jackson, our benevolent dictator. And just from the chat room, just to remind us, John Harris, yes, is king, and Charlie Veitch is actually Dr. Spock.
It's true.
we actually, I've actually had that. He's admitted it to me. I've actually asked him personally, and he has actually confirmed to me in person on video that he is actually Dr. Spock.
Well, I can well believe it.
Mind you, he's also told me he's a space fairy. And he also told me that his ancestors were trolls that lived under bridges. I'm not quite sure which one of them I'm going to believe. I'm going to go, I think, for Dr. Spock. Excuse me?
He's too tall to be the descendant of the trolls who live under bridges. They're only about 3.5 foot tall.
Yes, apparently he was actually racked by the evil Damien Rothschild when he possessed his soul for a short YouTube interview.
John Harris did quite a good job of demolishing the illusions, but he was rather too quick to replace all the illusions that he'd demolished with a whole lot of other delusions.
Illusions exchange for delusions. Yes, I've done this to myself on many occasions, Brad. I am alluded to being deluded. I will solve my illusion by becoming more deluded. Yes. I've been there many times. So yeah, we think. What do we think regarding Alex Jones and David Icke turning up at the Tavistock Festival of Freedom? Do we find that there's some irony here? It's not just me, is it? Is this very strange?
It makes me chuckle.
Yeah, I do see that the postures. Maybe they haven't noticed. You know, I mean, maybe they haven't noticed. I mean, maybe I should go down and then join in. What do you reckon?
Alex Jones will fit in very nicely with the BNP, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be good to see Alex Jones, wouldn't it, with a pair of Doc Martens, right, you know, with his turn-ups turned up on his jeans and with his braces on and a Union Jack T-shirt and a hanky on his head.
Can I shave his head?
It would be funny, wouldn't it? Especially if he stood next to the David Icke at the same time. What a picture that would be. I don't really know David. I've never spoken to David. I've never spoken to either of them. And I'm sure they're, you know, the face behind their, what do you call it? The public face of them. I'm sure there are different men behind that public face. And that's what I like about some of the people who are on Darkcity. When the server's in or the server out, they don't change. You know, they don't change. They're just the same people. There's no pretense. And they are what they are. Of course it is about entertainment, isn't it? We want to be entertaining as well as informative, I suppose. You don't want to be mind-numbingly bored to death with endless fine detail. So yeah, I mean, it's getting that chemistry, I suppose. It's getting that chemistry that works. What do you call it? Swarm effect. It happens in plants, doesn't it? You know, that symbiotic relationship that we have to our environment, we seem to be completely oblivious to. So solutions, for me, the closing the loops. I noticed you mentioned that as well on the thing. I was like, wow, look at that idea. Oh, yeah, that made me buzz up, I must admit. The closed loop ideology, closing the system. It's replacing the current system we've got, which is not common. It's not a common system, what we've got, of loss, harm, and deception. Replacing that with systems that create no loss or harm. See, most of it in its nature, the way it's set up, that's what it's coming to do. It's doomed to break. You know, it's been built to collapse. It's been built to be destroyed. And many people have heard me say this about Darkcity, and I'm serious about that. Darkcity has been constructed to collapse. It's been built specifically to collapse. Because every single stream should be free. And hopefully it won't take that long before it will. You know, it won't be that long. And it's not needed. It shouldn't be needed. We shouldn't need to put, you know, his own stream up. That shouldn't be there. The position shouldn't be being provided by the situation. You know, I shouldn't have been in a position with Nigel to go up there, and then the people who followed us and the people, because without them, you know, it's nothing. It wouldn't have been nothing. I say, and I ain't taking away from what we've done. I mean, we have took that land and we've held it for 2 years with vegetables. We took them on with vegetables. You know, there's no anger. There's been a few cross words in local council offices. You know, because they lie and they cheat and they steal, and we recorded them, and then they don't like it when they play it back. They try to deny they've said things, but you know. Dave, are you trying to get in? Excuse me, Dave. I've not been paying. I've just scrolled down with my text. Please do, man. Get in. Jump in. Slap me down.
It was just on, you were talking about some of the people earlier on, John Harris and David Icke there, and what is disappointing for me, sometimes, you know, when you see people that are sort of in the public, or they get a real good following sort of thing, they almost become slightly aloof, slightly like as if they're sort of, very self-important, if you like, and it always disappoints me. Like for example, Guy Taylor. I've known him, and I've met up with Guy on 2 occasions and spoken through stuff. But when you're in a problem, or when you want somebody's help, or some sort of anybody's input or advice and stuff, it's it's always very disappointing, you know, the fact that I can get in contact with Dean Clifford easier than I can get in contact with Guy Taylor, who's, you know, 11 miles up the road from me. And it does disappoint me. I was interested in you saying about John Harris and stuff. And, so it was a little while back, so you're probably a little bit off the subject now, but that is so, the only way we're going to succeed is through unity and through, you know, coming together and helping each other. Yet, you know, the people who seem to be at the forefront, when you need help or need any advice, or you need to come together with people, they're just not there, you know, and that's a really, really sad thing. And I think that's the divide and conquer thing, isn't it? Once we keep being divided, then we're rubbish on our own, really.
I kind of sympathise with them a little bit. I did a lot of work with John Armitage a while ago. He's a good mate of mine, John. A spiritual dude, I suppose. Spiritual guy. I suppose that's the best way you call it. He teaches compassion through understanding, through unconditional love. You know, there is no such thing as unconditional love, of course, but, you know, you get the point. And the number of people that, you know, they want to be nice, they want to meet him, they want to meet him. It's hard. Thank you. To sort that out. It does get, there's a lot of pressure, Dave. I saw it in John, you know, it's constant telephone. I mean, like, the number of times I've spoken to him briefly over the last few months, I suppose. I mean, one of them, Callian Prajna was actually in the call, actually, when he rang. And he comes on, or he rings in, and then he has to disappear again, because immediately there's that constant bombardment of hi, and who are you, and blah, 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 would you like to do this, and do you want to do that? And what people don't get is, these guys, for the one of them, and Rick's the same, Rick Simpson. You know, it's really similar for Rick. They make themselves available, they you know, and for people, and it's like it's not enough. It's like it really,
I get that.
You know, and your life and from my own personal experience, your life outside what you're doing can just be completely consumed. It really can. You know, they haven't got secretarial staff. They haven't got an entourage of people working with them, you know. They can't deal with it, Dave. It's impossible. It really is. But what gets me is that when, like you said, they all do seem to freak out a little bit. And I think that's that authority. When people actually start to look at them as the leader, or, you know, the head of it, or they're in charge, they start to wait for them, and they've just kind of done it again, you know. So, like, you know, John Harris, and I make a bit of fun about John, you know, why not King John Harris? Why not? Fucking don't give a shit, mate, he's not my king. If that's what he wants to declare himself, ruler of himself, wonderful. Well, all power to you, John. You know, well, you know, John gets out and he breaks a lot of stuff, as Price, and he says, you know what I mean, he broke an illusion, and he's saying to people, you've got to do it, you've got to empower yourself, you know, similar to yourself, Dave, really, don't be in fear, you know, similar to what we're all saying. And then suddenly, these people don't actually do what John said. Not very few of them. They all start following John around. You know? It's like, that's just crazy, isn't it? The guys told them to empower themselves, become their own rightful sovereigns, and they've all gone, right, John, you could be our sovereign. Now, to me, that's insane. That is completely nuts. You set them free, and they immediately give over their energy and put the person who set them free in charge. Look, the whole point of it was that nobody's supposed to be in charge. So, go on, Dave, mate.
I do see that, and I see the sort of fame, or the created fame aspect of it being, you know, a problem in the barrage. I know when Dean Clifford come on the other week, you had that the phone was going crazy, or you said it started to go.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty nuts. it's like he's sort of fought against it. For a long time, people are like, "Oh, we want you to be the leader. We want you to be the leader," and he's like, "No, you're not getting it. You're not understanding what I'm on about. This is, like just like what you're saying with the John Harris thing there. But it wasn't so much the lead. It's just I know that people like Guy Taylor are sort of busy, but he knows I wouldn't take up much of his time. I just wanted to literally bat an idea off him very quickly. I got his home number, but literally, it's easier. It's sad that I can contact Dean Clifford in half a minute. Literally, he'll get back to me in half a minute, and he's in Canada, and Guy Taylor's like 11 or 12 miles up the road, and he can take like 3 or 4 weeks to even reply to a message. And I think it's not so much being publicly hounded, it's literally just somebody to bat round ideas with, because I was half tempted to try arrest the clerk, and so I was really, really just disillusioned last week, like I say, with Matthew. And there are sort of things where you want to bat ideas around with people, and like speaking to Russ, that was straight away. He remembered something that I hadn't remembered, and I think there will always be somebody that could help or have input, and that's one of the things that is that's the hardest part, is the unity. Although we're trying to do away with being led, we still need unity. We need like a sort of a goal or whatever. I don't know. I really don't know how to express that, but I think the unity in what we're trying to do is very, very important. And people, they're happy. I think they're happy to hide behind people like John Harris as a, you be the leader sort of thing. It probably, for a lot of people, it probably translates into, you get yourself in the shit first, and then if it works and you don't get in the shit, then we might do it then. We might be brave enough to do it. But if you do get in the shit, we're going to run a mile. I think it's, there's probably a lot of people out there with that sort of mindset as well. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I have to agree with you, man. I think I have to agree with you. Shitbags, we used to call them. Shitbags. They talk the talk, but when it comes to walking the walk, they use the speed of the Nike trainer. And away they go. But again, derogatory terms for these things and putting people down because we know better, I suppose. It's dead easy. I mean, it is for me. Like I say, I get frustrated. I still get frustrated. I get annoyed. So yeah, what is it? That's the top and bottom of it. What can each one of us do to avoid the frustration? I
was going to say it's amazing how stupid brainy people can be.
Well, that's debatable, isn't it? It's one of my favourite topics. We perhaps should have hit this earlier. Divergent thinking, and
it's been said. You could say it the other way. It's amazing how brainy stupid people are.
yeah, you could. And to a sense, that every great breakthrough we've ever had, whether it be in science or engineering or whatever, has come because it's different. It's a breakthrough. It's wow, look at that. We've got mobile phones. Check them out. Different, you see. It's a breakthrough. Outside the box. People who think outside the box. Well, there you go. You have to take over. I've got somebody at my front door.
Hey up, Dave. G'day, everyone. Hello, Darkcity listeners. Hello. So, yes, I heard you talking about people wanting the solution, and then the solution is given, and then they still want the solution. So, yeah, how you all doing? Hello and good morning from Australia.
Thank you, Susan.
And it's cold. You're welcome.
Quick infill. So, where were we? Or where was I?
With the diversive thinking, I believe.
Divergent.
Divergent
thinking. Yeah. Study that's been done. Ken Harris of the Arts Council. I think it's Ken Harris. Hey, we're on Harris's, aren't we? Is it Ken Harris? Maybe not. they've done a brilliant video, actually. Oh, there's a brilliant video again on Satan's channel YouTube, and that's called Changing the Educational Paradigm. I've mentioned this a couple of times, and it's it's well worth the watch. It's about 11 or 12 minutes, especially if your children are in education. I mean, if your kids have got ADHD, whatever it is, or they've got one of these other man-made, invented diseases, which used to be called boredom when I was at school. That's what they used to call it. So yeah, if that is the case for you, have a look at that video. It does actually explain that many what are known as divergent thinkers. Now, what they did is, just quickly, because like I say, it's quite a big topic, but quickly what they did is they tested indigo children at the ages, I think it was 5, 7 and 11, I think, something like that. And what they found is, when they took the test in divergent thinking, that they got less.
Yeah, they did, correct.
Yeah.
That's the RSI, isn't it?
Yeah, and what they actually found out was that the only thing that these children have in common was education. They'd all been through the education process. Now, the actual system as it is does actually serve the people. It's a bit weird for us to grasp that. Often we can point the finger at it, and that's why I like, is it Ken Harris? Is it Ken Harris, Arts Council? Anyway, the video. Ken Robinson. I've got Harris on my head at the moment. All hail King Harris, isn't it? Yeah, Ken Robinson. Thanks, Dave. And he explains it. When the educational system, as we know it, and I mean, most people recognise it's not actually an educational system; it's a schooling system.
Bob, do you want the link? There's an RSA video, isn't there, to it?
Yes, there is. Yeah, that'll be handy for the chat. But yeah, as I was saying, the system as we're running at the moment in schools is based upon a system that was put into in the late 1800s, right in the middle of the Industrial Revolution. Now, if you have a look at that video, it explains something really well. You can see the mindset of what's developed and how we actually are, and why we have such a difficulty with accepting alternatives. We've been schooled the opposite way, where preschool is the opposite. It's still the opposite. There are more divergent thinkers now. These are people who do think outside the box. That's how we used to call it. They come up with new ideas, fresh things. Otherwise, without that, within our society, with what you call it, social groups, when you remove that from social groups, they stop progressing. They literally are placed into a limbo state where they're not actually getting anywhere. It looks like it. It looks like, oh, well, we've got this and we've got that and we've got the other. But all they've done is took what they've already had and changed it slightly. Changed it again. Of course, every now and then one of the divergent thinkers break through and we have another revolutionary idea. So, in a real short space of time, and I mean I'm talking short space, within education, you could actually see a flip come really quick where the divergent thinking children, because they all are to a degree, and the majority are to a degree, there's very few who don't have any divergent thought, they will immediately start to solve numerous problems that the people who've been trained inside the box, to coin the term, the ones who've been trained not to be divergent, to be to conform to what's already current and what's already there. And the same analogy, Dave, is like when people come along and say, well, you do it, and if it works, we'll have a go. You're dead right. You're dead right. So there's now, because of education, there's very few people coming up with new ideas, therefore there's less transition. And it's a lot harder for alternatives to come to the forefront, alternative power and so forth. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it is connected with one and the other. Dave, go on, mate.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that as well. You see a lot of, you see letters that various people band around on Facebook from teachers where the children have actually, or pupils have questioned something that a teacher's been teaching. And in fact, the child or the pupil or whatever you want to call it has been correct, but they've still been reprimanded or they've written to the parents because the child has questioned the authority of the teacher. And I think that's another thing that they do sort of drum into you at school then is, number one, you have to sign, like you say, sign the register, you answer to your name, and you don't question, you don't stand up and question what you're being taught, so you don't question authority. And I think that's drummed in and drummed in and drummed in. And like you say, the only thing, the common factor that education seemed to have on those children in that group was that they got stupider.
Well, brilliant, Dave. That was it. We're done. End of the Dark City show. Thank you very much, one and all. And join us again. Everyone. Join us again.
Thank you, Dark City. Thank you, listeners. Good night.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Thanks,
Where's Barry's parrot?
My world is crashing down and there's nobody else around to talk to, so I cry myself to sleep. Dreaming of pure happiness, I wake up in my loneliness. If only things were like they used to be. Live my life my own way, both bad and good from yesterday are making me the man I'm gonna be.